This is the self-titled podcast of the Golf in Japan website, where you can check essential information in English about golfing in Japan, including more than 2,000 courses. We can help you book your round and make the whole process a whole lot easier. So check out golf-in-japan.com and start planning your Japan golf trip today.
Titleist Club Fitting, the fastest way to better. With a player-focused philosophy on fitting, Titleist offers a range of club fitting experiences from drivers to wedges. Your Titleist fitting specialist, thanks to an unmatched selection of products and technology, along with a wealth of fitting knowledge, will provide you with tour-quality fitting experience that can provide immediate benefits for your game. You can experience a fitting in English while in Japan. Just go to the Golf in Japan website and click on the Titleist banner. Or check the link in the description of this podcast. Titleist, the fastest way to better.
Okay, Golf in Japan. We've got a slightly smaller crew in a different room today. Pro Joe's away, but we do have Damon. Hello, Damon.
Hello.
And Ryan, how's it going?
Doing good, thank you.
How's the back?
Oh, it's right as rain.
Is it?
Yeah. I mean, more or less, there's a few rumbles and the thunder strikes from time to time, but.
Oh, really? It takes time. It'll get stronger. But we just blame Pro Joe on that. We have to get you a different teacher.
Yeah. Don't go back for another lesson.
Yeah. Do you think that's what it was?
No way. That's what I'm looking forward to. That's the number one thing that I keep thinking, like, oh, do you think am ready to go back? Because I had a great lesson with Pro Joe, actually. Like, he probably the best lesson that I've had. And,
That's the only lesson you've had, right?
Well, I've had like kind of free lessons. So I go in and like, I'm interested in this school. And they give you kind of like a free trial. and they like don't even let you hit a ball. They're just like, here's like the little nub, which you're supposed to put the ball on. Try it, see if you can hit that a few times. And it's just like, oh my God. And it's like they don't want to go and like clean up the balls afterwards or something. I don't know what to do. Do
you think you'd be able to like play 9 holes, for example, or not yet?
I don't see why not. I mean, so that's the whole thing is I don't really understand the process of like what a game is like, so you hit it off the tee, maybe you make it 1/3 or halfway down, and then you go back and then you try to hit it further, and then you try to hit it again, and then maybe along the way it finds its way into like a weird little pocket, and you got to hit it out of that. So that's where it would probably fall apart for me is once it's like out, because I've done a lot of what's that called, like just like going to the range, so I've like taken a lot of strokes, I've hit the ball a fair number of times.
I meant your back though. Do you think your back would hold up?
Oh, sorry.
I mean, I know how to play the game of golf.
Yeah, well,
it's pretty simple. Ball, hole.
Yeah. What else is there? No.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Do you know what they call bunkers? Bunkers.
They're like no.
So back in in Scotland, this was public land that you couldn't build houses on because it's next to the sea. So big storm surges and stuff would come in. So with this dead land, they made golf courses, right? But they used to be able to. It was public land, so you could graze your cattle there. And I don't know if you're familiar with cows, but when they're chewing the cud, they hunker down to get out of the wind. And so on this public land where they were playing golf, where the cows would have lied, there would have been like kind of depressions from over the years, them kind of getting in. And obviously, being very windy and next to the coast, sand was gathering there naturally. So and they were calling, because that's where the cows would bunker down. So then they just became bunkers, and that's
true.
I don't know. I think so.
That's a great story, though.
Yeah. I always like that one. The other one is, do you know where there's 18 holes?
I thought it was 9, and then didn't it begin more like 9, and then somebody doubled up on it or something like that? Or?
The question was, do you know where there's 18 holes?
No, I don't.
I know why there's 19, but
well, they said there's 18 shots, or there was 18 shots in the old days in the bottle of whiskey. So you'd have a shot a hole, and by the time you finished your round, you drank a bottle of whiskey. I don't know if that's true, but it is cool.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Another good story.
Tall tales with Kieran Cashel. Yeah.
I like these. Okay, so with our Pro Joe here, I'm going to do the President's Cup dissection.
Recap.
Hail to the chief.
But before I do that, let's do the prefecture of the week.
Okay, and that is Aomoriprefecture.
Aomori.
Yep. Does anyone know what Aomori actually means? It's pretty simple when you think about it.
Blue forest.
Correct, yeah. Yep.
Aomori.
Yeah. I mean, obviously heavily like dense forest up there. And apparently
Yeah.
it used to be surrounded by like blue waters and things like that. So
okay.
Aomori, yeah, blue forest.
Is Aomori where they get those ice monster trees in the winter?
No, that's Yamagata.
That's Yamagata. We talked about that before.
Yeah.
Aomori.
But yeah, Aomori is the northern part of the Honshu Island, which is the mainland. But we always say this, like the Honshu Island, stuff like that. It made me wonder, how many islands are there actually in Japan? I bet you have no idea. You won't even be close.
3,000.
250.
14,125.
14,000 islands.
Yeah. How about that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. 4 main islands, obviously, but we won't go into that now. But yeah. But other things Aomori is famous for is the Nubata Festival, or the Matsuri up there. One of the most famous festivals in Japan.
Nice.
So
I can see
photogenic. Those
I can
floats
see
are
you
beautiful,
chomping at the bit there. I'm sure you get into it. Mount Hakoda. And they also produce more than 50% of all the apples consumed in Japan.
Okay. The apples are very good here.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are. All vegetables are very good, and fruit.
Yeah, they are. They're amazing.
But what's really cool about Aomori, it's got one of the longest underwater tunnels in the world.
Oh, wow. Going up to Hokkaido? Or?
Yep.
Is that the one that the Shink goes on?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. Well, it must be, right?
I've never taken a Shinkansen. I've only flown.
Yeah. It's 53 kilometers long
Wow.
under the ocean. That's pretty mega.
That is mega. Wow.
It's amazing. But yeah, also a lot of historical sites up there from the Joman archaeological era, or sites up there, dating back as 14,000 to 300 BCE.
What?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, the jomon means like the corded rope. So they had those, like they find those clay pottery that they leave behind, and
Wow. Yeah.
that's where that name comes from, at least.
But yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
another thing from Aomori that they're quite famous for is their bluefin tuna.
Ooh.
Lot of tuna up that way.
Yep. Hand
But,
caught.
Yeah.
Do you ever see them? They're all on the boats, and all the guys are lined up on the boats, and they're just they're putting their line in, and they're just flicking behind them,
out.
and there's a tuna on the end of it every time. Bang.
Whoa.
Bang. It's amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a kind of undiscovered country. Like Aomori, it's definitely sort of a wilderness retreat, like escape for overall Japan.
Totally.
Just being up there in the north. It kind of reminds me of, the Game of Thrones, and they have the land beyond the wall. I think that's kind of like an apt description for it, because talking about the Jomon, which are found all throughout Japan, but the Ainu and the Emishi are two like kind of famous tribes or
Ethnic groups.
ethnic groups that are descended from the Jomon, and basically as the population expanded through Korea and China and things like that coming into Japan, and the Yamato people, they were pushing the Jomon people, or the Ainu and the Emishi, up north further and further. But the Emishi, if you've ever seen the movie Princess Mononoke, you remember that the prince name, the guy's name was Ashitaka, and he has that village. That's an Emishi village that they don't say where it is, but that could very well have been Aomori. And so the movie starts there.
These guys, the Ainu, they look like Native American Indians, don't they? So, and like they paint their faces. They have similar art. They hit the drums and they bounce around. They paint their faces black. They do all sorts of weird things when they get married. Completely different from what you would consider Japanese, right? So if you go back a very long time ago, when there must have been a land bridge between, say, the north of Japan, Hokkaido, all the way over to like Anchorage, Alaska, that kind of thing, right? And the people were migrating along. Do you think that these people do actually have blood ties to Native Americans?
Could have even been seafaring,
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be more likely, yeah.
Because like all up and down, like, the kind of the Pacific Rim, like it's...
Those people were, yeah. And they have their own language, don't they? I remember seeing it. Was that the documentary that came out? It won loads of awards, actually. About it was a girl who was living in Tokyo, spoke English, married to a foreigner, and then decided to go back and embrace that Ainu heritage.
Well.
Did you never see that documentary?
No.
Inu's dog. Ainu.
I think I might have heard of it. I didn't see it, but I know sometimes in the news.
Yeah, but they were kind of, they were obviously discriminated against and shunned as a unique thing in Japan, because Japan is very homogenous, where everybody does the same thing, but not these guys. They were completely separate, had their own language, stories, culture, and they were kind of hiding it. and they'd have to go to regular schools. They couldn't go to their Ainu schools, but now it's recognized as its own culture, and they're trying to revive it, which is pretty cool.
They're well known for they raise bears, so they would have like
Really?
bears are like considered a divine being or a divine animal, and so they would like if they they eat them and stuff like that still too, but they would when they captured a bear, if it had a cub, they would actually raise that cub in the village and then later sacrifice it, but still like they're
Interesting.
very deeply tied to nature for sure.
Mm.
The Emishi, which from that movie Princess Mononoke, they were known as the unconquerable warriors, and so for like 500 years, basically they never really they never really lost per se or were conquered. It was more like just slowly assimilated into the rest of the country. But
Right, because you can imagine, like especially during the samurai times, that what were the samurai thinking about? Oh, we don't mess with those guys.
yeah, like
Those guys with the painted black faces. Like, let's just
let them stay up north.
let's leave them alone.
We're doing okay down here. Yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, the women like tattoo. I think this is Ainu, but you were talking about painting their faces. They actually have tattoos. And
So it's
Actually-
like the Maori.
Almost like their lips.
Yeah.
Big tattoo on their lips and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. Very interesting. And I suppose they do have visitor centers and so on all around the place.
Oh, I reckon so. Yeah, if you
Yeah.
if you were to go to Aomori, I'm sure they have all sorts of museums, and
Wow.
you could probably have a powwow or something like that too. Yeah.
I want to try the alcohol they make up there, because that literally blows the head clean off you. We won't be drinking that in during the podcast. Let me tell you.
What is that called? Do you remember the name of that?
I think it's called Aomori.
Oh, okay.
Is it?
Don't know.
They have a very strong liquor.
And
It's
it's
very
called
strong.
Aomori.
I'm not sure.
Maybe down here. It probably has
Yeah.
another name up there, but
Yeah, well, it's kind of it's a sake, it's a nihonshu, but it's really strong, and it's one of those things that I don't know, for whatever blood type or genetic stuff I have, it really affects me strongly.
Catches you off guard.
It does. It absolutely knocks me for two. I can drink whiskey till the cows come home, but give me some of that stuff and I'm gone. Anyway, cool. Is that it for Aomori? What else have we got up there?
Oh, obviously we've got golf courses.
Oh, we got to talk about the golf courses. I've never heard of a golf course up there.
No, you totally have. I don't think so.
Give me a few names and let's see.
Aomori Springs.
No.
Aomori Country Club.
No.
Do they all start with Aomori?
Well, I've never been there, so
Okay.
yeah.
There's 15, 16 golf courses up there. It's not
Okay.
a lot.
Yeah.
It's fairly big prefecture. It's not tiny, but obviously more nature than anything up there.
Yeah.
Than people and the Ainu tribes. But Ainu tribes. You got me saying it now. Yeah. But the most famous golf courses up there, Aomori Springs, which I just mentioned, Towada Golf Club, Aomori Royal Golf Club, and the Makado Korgen Country Club.
Very good.
Yeah, we don't send a lot of people up there. We were just talking about it pre-podcast. Not a lot, but not zero for sure. There are other prefectures that you would think there would be people going to, which
That's
we actually
beautiful.
don't have. But yeah.
I'm looking at the pictures online here. My God, amazing.
It's actually, I mean, the golf courses are really mint up there.
Yeah,
The
it looks
whole
nice.
area is really, really pretty.
I'd say traditionally, like, I'm just looking at pictures online, and I'd say it was like a kind of a wealthy, like very bountiful. Like, you've got the sea, you've got beautiful fruit production. They've got amazing skiing, by the looks of things.
Yeah, they do up there. Yep, that'd be also. I think from the mountain I discussed previously, Hakuda Mountain
Wow.
or Mount Hakuda. up
Yeah,
there.
it's huge. Okay,
Yeah.
just looking at it. Okay, it's massive.
Yeah.
Is that a volcano?
Yeah, I think I read something about there was an eruption, some time ago.
They've got. Oh man, they've got everything.
What's
up
the city up there? Hachinohe. I think.
Hachinohe.
Yep, up there.
See, they have winery up there. Aomori Winery Hotel looks beautiful. Wow. Okay.
From here, it's quite a travel to get up there, but best would be take a plane. I think it's like an hour, just over an hour to get up there. We've got two airports up there actually.
It must be the Tohoku Shinkansen, I'd say, is it? To get a shink up there.
Yeah.
So you go Tochigi, Fukushima,
Up
keep
that
going
way.
up, keep going up, and then
Sendai upwards.
Okay.
Yeah, Shinkansen probably I would imagine like 3 or 4 hours.
They do have the ice monsters, which is basically
What do they call them in Japanese? Hyoga or something? Or
I'm not sure. It's better ice monster. It's basically the fir trees just get covered in snow completely, and they just look like weird shapes. So you just see people snowboarding through them or skiing through them, and
Yep.
pretty cool. Okay.
Cool. So that's Aomori. We're running down. I think we've only got a couple more prefectures to do.
We'd start all over again.
Start all over again.
Yeah, cool. Okay. Well, Prod Joe's not here, but we did have a very eventful professional golf or world of golf, and I'll just quickly go through some of the highlights. So we had the Japan Women's Open in Japan, which is kind of overlooked, but what an amazing tournament. Well attended. We were talking about how unattended these events are. This thing was packed. And Ryu Takeda, who she won, she got herself 30 million yen, and she shot 10 under, and that's her 7th victory as a rookie.
Wow.
So we were talking about, Joe was talking about her before, so it's kind of unheard of. You come on tour and you're just finding your feet, and she missed a cut. And if you look at her tournament record, she missed a cut in the first one. She didn't get through qualifying in the second one. Then boom, she won, and then she's just full of confidence. She's a very free swinging, very powerful girl, and she's won 7 times. She's over 1,000 points clear for this Mercedes ranking that they have in Japan. And she's just absolutely killing it. Now, if you think in perspective, on the global stage, Nelly Cordes, she's won 6 times. So this girl's won 7 times now. She won, and this is a Japanese Open. And she's 21 years old.
Does she have any kind of like, I don't know, like special attributes? Is she really tall, or is she like?
She does everything well. So I was watching her on Saturday. So it was kind of cool. You know, the President's Cup didn't start until later in the evening. And then I was watching all the Japanese games, and it was just amazing to watch her. She doesn't hit it super long, but it's just straight little draw. Iron game is unbelievable. She's super aggressive. She attacks all the pins. So and when she misses and she scrambles unbelievably well, she's like, her short game is just absolutely amazing. Super confident. She just flows. So I would say we've always said Japanese players traditionally don't really travel well, but I think she should go over, to the States and try a game there,
How old is she?
21.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Gosh.
She was born in 2003, mate.
What was her name again?
Ryu Takeda.
Ryu Takeda.
Yeah.
Something to look out
it's
for.
a pretty close field just looking at the table, the leaderboard now. Something like 4 strokes between the top 7. That's pretty good.
Yeah, the women's game here is pretty good. It's really interesting. And funny thing, I was always talking about that Unext app, and it has all the women's games. It doesn't have the men's because there's just not a demand for it. It's really weird here with that,
I think a lot of the women's also on Dazan as well.
Yeah, I don't have Dazan.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay.
And that was played up near your place, wasn't it? Up in Tochigi.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I don't have the name of the course.
Oh, it's Ibaraki.
Ibaraki. Well, it's next to Tochigi. Yeah, I didn't really think much of the course. Just looked like a kind of typical, kind of longish course.
Yep.
But yeah, there was a men's game on the JGTO on the Japan Tour here at the Vantolin Tokai Classic, and it was won by Takehiro Hitachi. As I said, it wasn't on the telly, but I did watch the highlights of it. It was on somewhere, and the guy dressed exactly like Tiger Woods, red shirt. He wore the Sunday red.
Sunday red.
Yeah, and that was funny. But apparently, he's from the same university as Matsuyama. This guy, I haven't heard of him before. Not to say he's probably a very accomplished golfer, Takehiro Hitachi. Okay, and the Vantolin Tokai. Vantolin is that stuff you put on your back when you're sore, right?
But yeah.
Vantolin. So if obviously the people listening to this podcast may not be familiar with Vantolin, but it's Tiger Woods is the ambassador, and so whenever there's a big Japanese tournament or a foreign tournament like the Masters on, the commercials will always have Vantolin, and it's like this patch you put on your back,
a hot patch.
I think they make all sorts of different stuff actually now. They make knee braces and all sorts of stuff. But Tigers, does it work? I've put them on before, and I don't really think they work. You put them on your lower back, or you've got sore shoulder.
What's like the active ingredient? Is it like Tiger Balm, or like a Vapor Rub kind of thing, where there's like some sort of minty element?
Yeah, it's definitely mentholy. You get a whiff of menthol, which is kind of soothing, I suppose.
I think they work.
Do they work?
Yeah, I think so.
They don't work on me.
Yeah.
Anyway, okay. If Tiger does it, I'm gonna keep wearing them.
Must work.
Advertising works.
Yeah.
Okay. Over to the ladies tour in America, and the LPGA Walmart Arkansas NW Northwest NW tournament at Pinnacle Country Club was won by a Thai lady called Yasmin Suwanapura at 17 under. And yeah, I did see the highlights of that. She was absolutely playing out of her socks. Very emotional win for her. She's an absolute beast when it comes to driving the ball. Thought she was great. And in the same tournament, there was a Japanese girl, Mao Saigo, and she came fourth. So she's been doing quite well over there. We did mention the race to the CME Globe and stuff. And Ayaka Furue, I noticed. She's so Lydia Ko was second, Nelly Korda first, and a Japanese girl, Ayaka Furue. She's pretty consistent. She's only won once, but she's like consistently top 5, top 10. So good to see the Japanese girls come over. But again, we got to send Ryu Takeda over there and see how she stacks up against these. Because what she's doing here is just, everyone talks about Nelly and the year she's had. This girl is absolutely
killing it.
Yeah, but again, it's only in Japan, so we have to see how our game travels. Okay, the President's Cup. So me as what would you call it, an independent or innocent bystander, looking at this, and of course it was against America. Who am I kidding? Sorry, Ryan. Yeah, it was super interesting. The Americans won 18.5 to 11.5, which looks like a bit of a whitewash, to be honest with you. Very convincing win on their side. So congratulations, Ryan, on that. But
it didn't look so. I mean, obviously the first day.
The first day I'm looking at it, right? So
Was it 5-0?
It was 5-0, man. And I mean, they looked scared. Matsuyama was terrible. Jason Day didn't have a great tournament, I have to say, unfortunately for him, because he's one of the old boys. You want to see him doing well. Adam Scott played great, but they got absolutely whitewashed, 5-0 on Thursday. So a little bit different from the Ryder Cup, which is only 3 days.
Seemed like there was sort of a wave to it though, because in the middle of the whole thing,
momentum.
It was like, wow, what's going on? There was at least some drama.
Yeah, I mean, everyone talks about momentum, and that is match play. So next of all, a putt will drop or something will happen, and that's it. Then you're off, and then your team, or if it's just yourself, are going. So then they came out on Friday and they absolutely dusted. So just to give you a record for any match play in the President's Cup or the Ryder Cup, 7-6. That means they won 7 holes with 6 left to play. Hideki Matsuyama and Sungjae Im were they did 7 birdies or something in the last few holes. They were just...
So I understand that's the biggest margin to win ever in a President's Cup.
Yeah, especially because it's alternate shot.
Yeah.
So you hit, and then your partner hits the next one and so on. So it's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
In that format to have that kind of score. And then also Adam Scott and Taylor Pendrith looked very convincing. Thought they balanced each other well. Taylor Pendrith hits the ball very far. He's kind of more aggressive. Adam Scott, although he does hit the ball
uses
far.
a long putter as well, right? Or is it just Adam?
Just Adam, I think.
Okay.
I could be wrong on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was wildly entertaining when they came out. And then it was 5-all. Got 5-5 going into Saturday, which was brilliant. And then Saturday, I actually stayed up very late watching it, which I don't know why I did that, because I'm not even American or rest of the world, but I was up for Japan. And it was just like, then you start seeing the real metal of Scotty Scheffler come out. He was just, and he that was a tough match.
That was a strong pairing though.
Yeah. Colin Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler.
That's a strong
no one's
pairing.
beaten that ever. They're just unbelievable. And
they only just won though.
They did.
2-1.
But that it just shows you the quality that was coming in. Some of the golf shots like Xander Schauffele was hitting, and I mean, yeah, but Scotty was just he was just so good. So I felt sorry for them. But then you had the Siwoo Kim and Tom Kim, and they actually played out of their socks.
Didn't they? They played so well together.
Really well.
They did, yeah. And there was a bit of did you see that there was a bit of juice happening? So apparently Tom Kim in his press conference after had said that under their breath, or I don't know, to their face, they were cursing them like F you or whatever.
Who was cursing who?
The American team.
The American team was cursing at them.
Yeah, saying like, whatever. So I had seen the crowd were giving the Americans all sorts of stick because it's in Canada, right?
Yeah.
And I had seen Brian Harmon on the first hole of I think it was Saturday. He turned around to the crowd and he was saying all sorts of expressive words and terms to them. After he held his putt to win the hole, he turned around and but then,
they didn't show that.
But they weren't saying it under the breath to.
Oh no, he was saying it to the crowd. He was saying it to the crowd.
Right.
But I don't know if he said he said that he heard people, or he heard the American team cursing them out. So it must mean when he got a good shot, or when he was going, because they get into it, and they were saying,
Oh, that's disappointing.
said it was unsportsmanlike.
Well, with
But
it
then
being the President's Cup and all, I was just happy to see there was no snipers. So, so a few
Trudeau did come out.
hecklers.
Trudeau
okay.
gave the I was going to say the kettle, the chalice or whatever the cup, the President's Cup. Gave it to the.
So
winners.
when they do the scheduling, like for this Saturday, the four ball, how do they pair who's going to play against each other?
So I think what happens is it's a good in the Ryder Cup. It's always kind of announced. They have it all worked out. If these pairings come out, this is the pairings we're going to go against. Or they might say this is the guy that has to go up against Scheffler, and he works well with him, so we'll put them. So I don't know. I think on one session, one guy's announced first, and then the other guys match up their team for that. And then the next one, they announce who they're going to do, and then they match it up, and then it comes out to the press, all of the pairings and all of the matches.
So it's not as if one team makes all their pairings and the other team does the same, and they put in any order that they want, and vice versa, and that's who's playing against each other?
I don't think so.
No, okay.
Definitely not the singles.
Yeah.
They all know who's going to play who.
Yeah.
And then the order, I guess, doesn't really... it does matter because you want to put your strongest player out first and last, I suppose, just in case. But
why would that be? Like, I saw that came up a lot when I was watching the highlights and stuff, and they were saying that, nobody's watching the people at the end. But why? I mean, just because I don't know, like...
It goes down to the wire.
So, but like, you don't want someone strong at the end to maybe pick it up or something? Or?
I mean, for the Americans, they probably just put because they were so far ahead, they want to put their strongest out first, finish it up quick.
Oh.
So all matches will finish, but at the once the thing's won, like, they don't really care, right? They're just playing for their own pride or whatever, their own record for the tournament. But you never know. Like in the Ryder Cup, you have to pepper. You do want to start strong, but you have to pepper in really strong players as well. And it has done. It's come down to the end. Very famously in the President's Cup a few years ago when they tied. And it was Ernie Els and Tiger Woods against each other, and they kept.
That was classic.
Yeah, well, they put them back out, and then they kept playing hole after hole after hole, and they're birdieing, and then they lost the light, so they just decided to do a draw, which was very sportsmanlike. No cursing going on under the breath.
Yeah, different time.
Yeah. So then, so I think Saturday four ball kind of broke. There was a lot of tired legs on the Sunday. Then it's a long 4 days of this. It's really intense situation. So 4 days that you're wrecked. So Jason Day came out and he had Xander Schauffele. Xander, I mean, Jay did hit a few good shots, but he was just answered by Xander. That was it. Tom Kim, he's a little firecracker. He loves these things. He
loves it, doesn't he?
He drew with Sam Burns, so his record is actually pretty good.
He was really hyping up the crowd.
He was unlucky. He missed the putt to win, and it just grazed the edge. And I was like, oh man, so he halved. I believe it was Keegan Bradley, if you remember all the drama with him being left out of the last Ryder Cup. And now he's been announced as the Ryder Cup captain, and then he was a captain's pick for this week. So he gets the winning point for the American team that won the cup.
Scotty lost to Matsuyama.
Oh, he did, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. No, Scotty was winning most of the day.
That's right. I think I missed that.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really good to watch.
Oh, yeah.
The globalists, like, which ones did they win? They won again. So Matsuyama won only the one.
Mm-hmm.
No, he had won.
No, so
remember, I
Scheffler
told you
won.
he come out 7 and 6 on the Friday with the four ball to take a mad victory there. But it was the most animated I've ever seen Hideki. He was like getting the crowd going, and he was some of the high fives with him and Siwoo Kim were lame though. They were missing each other's hand, and then they'd end up kind of doing this hug. It's just terrible. They really got to work on their high five, because the Americans are doing the low dap, and that they keeping it cool. They got it down, and then the Asian guys are kind of like hugging each other. It's like weird. But well done to Hideki. He looked fabulous.
He looks strong. He's going to be strong going into Zozo, I think.
Yeah, it has to be one of the favourites going in, I'd say.
I agree. I mean, you hear stories like how he's quite shy and that type of thing. But then I've heard some other stories that people that are a little bit closer to him, and he's a totally different person off the course.
Yeah. No, I've heard a friend of mine, actually a guy from Teabags, he actually was playing darts in Azerbaijan, and apparently Hideki loves darts. And then he came in with his, I don't know if it was his caddy or his mates, had a few beers, playing darts with the boys, and the lad said he was speaking like almost perfect English.
Yeah. Heard that
So,
as well, yeah.
Yeah, so he can actually speak English, and he was obviously communicate with his teammates, and there was no translator there. You know the way, like when he gives a speech and it's on TV, like he brings in the old boy who
He always does, doesn't he? Never does it in
never
English.
does it, but you can see him. He's chatting away, and I suppose at the Masters he must have when he hosted the winners' dinner. He probably did it himself.
Well, then, yeah, no cameras in there.
No cameras in there, mate. Yeah, so well done to the Team USA. I thought there was a couple of people who I thought were a little bit underwhelming. Wyndham Clark, thought he would have played better. Titleist guy. Sahith Tagala. I mean, I think, is it their first? No. I think Sahith, it's his first one, but I think he was a bit underwhelmed. Min Woo was pretty good, but he could have been better maybe. Adam Scott was, yeah, I mean, he was pretty good actually. He must have been knackered on the fourth day though.
Yeah, I thought Adam played really well the whole tournament.
Yeah, very good. I mean, especially when Pendrith was all over the map and he was just,
But when he played against Morikawa in the last day in the singles, I think he did pretty good all the way to the wire.
Yeah.
2-1 he lost.
Yep.
I kept seeing Max Homa's name popping up. Like, was he noticeable, or is that just something that?
No, he's an awesome player. Another Titleist guy.
He was struggling with his game, wasn't he? He's been like gone through swing changes and all that kind of stuff, and he was a captain's pick, so he didn't automatically qualify. But yeah, he beat Mackenzie Hughes. But already at that stage, it was
I mean, to be honest, I think it was a little bit lopsided from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, they needed, as you say, the live guys. Cam Smith. Yeah, man. Neiman. Ram is Spain. He's Europe.
Oh, Europeans can't go in, right? So why is that? Why can't Europeans go in?
Because we did a Ryder Cup, which is awesome.
That's the only reason?
But Americans can join Ryder Cup, right? So I mean,
it's America against Europe. And it's a
but this is meant
historical
to be
match.
the rest of the world.
I don't know. So it started off as just Great Britain and Ireland, GBI against America, and that went on for years. And then I think it was losing. It wasn't very popular or whatever, or it was so lopsided. The Americans were so good because their tour was huge that it wasn't competitive. And they said, well, what about if we brought in Europe? So then they started bringing in players, I suppose, in the 60s or 70s. And then it became, you had the best players from continental Europe and then even Scandinavia and the UK and Ireland. Then it became very competitive. Then it became very well contested, kind of evenly matched teams. And then, of course, now it is what it's an absolute juggernaut now. That's the highlight for all the European players that they just
that's for the Ryder Cup. What about this one?
I don't know. I mean, I think it was. I mean, the PGA Tour invented this, right? So they own it. It's a commercial enterprise. So as a business thing, they were like.
It just doesn't seem right. Them saying America versus the rest of the world.
It'd be interesting if it was like all of continental America too. So like, what if it was Canada and America and Mexico or something like that against the rest of the Pacific Ocean? The Pacific.
I mean, I suppose in Europe you do have the same thing. Like, whereas you have culturally very different, guys who speak in different languages and all, and they come together. But this is a little bit more extreme, isn't it? You got Japanese and Korean guys playing with Aussies and South Africans and South American players, and it's kind of. And how do they practice? And then you have kind of the Canadian players who are kind of North American. Come on, let's go. And then, so it is kind of random, and they kind of made it up. And, I suppose like players like Ernie Els and, they try to make it like a legitimate, and I mean, people like it, and they are playing for passion, but I mean, I guess you're paying for your own country no matter what.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, I thought it was a little bit lopsided. So no big surprise that America came out on top.
No. Yeah, I mean, you just need something to really spark to. I mean, the last time they won it, and Shigeki Mariyama, he went out and won all 5 of his matches, and he was a rookie, and he cleaned up. Yeah, and you need someone like to have that kind of a. So Tom Kim was kind of, he's their little talisman. He's going hard, but you need 2 or 3 of them to beat an American team that good. Yeah,
I mean, imagine if some of the American Live players were in there as well.
Yeah,
DeChambeau.
Yeah, again, it's owned by the PGA Tour, so I don't think you're gonna have any of that. But the next Ryder Cup, which is next year, and it's in New York and Bethpage Black, you're going to see live players in there, both sides. So apparently, that's what
that's going to be huge.
That's huge. Yeah,
you're not going to not bring John Ram.
Yeah, right.
into you need them, especially going into New York. You imagine the crowds there, like they'd be abusive to those European guys. So you need guys who are like they feed off that, bring it, and then they get, that's what John Ram is. So we need him.
What country is John Ram from?
Spain.
Okay.
España. Yeah, he lost. There was the Spanish Open was on, wasn't it? And John Ram played it, I believe. I could be wrong on all of this because I haven't researched it, but he lost to another guy. But I did see the highlights on Facebook, and it did look like the guy who won was so emotional. He was crying and everything. Spanish are just so passionate about doing anything sports. So John Ram didn't win on that one. I think he came second or third.
Second, yeah.
Yeah. What was the name of the guy who won? Angel?
Yep. Hilago.
Yeah.
Yep.
I just
Was it a playoff?
Was it a playoff? Was it a 3-man playoff? Was it?
A 2-man playoff.
2-man playoff. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, Spanish Open is always good. What golf course was it in?
That was at the Club de Campo Villa de Madrid.
Okay. Nice.
That's my best Spanish, by the way.
That's pretty good, mate.
Yeah, thanks.
We mentioned that in the podcast before. You know why they say cerveza in Spain, like as opposed to Mexico or South America where they go cerveza? Because there was a Spanish king back in the day who had a lisp.
So it became official.
And it became official. So everybody, and then it just became a cultural thing. So that's how everybody speaks with that kind of a weird lisp, especially in Madrid.
I've always had that theory about Japan. They have like that the samurai haircut where they basically like the top knot, but then like they always shave the top of their heads and like take off all the hair on the top of their heads. Even for children and stuff like that, they would shave the top of the head. It basically looks like a balding old guy.
Yeah.
And I just assumed that there must have been some shogun who was going bald, and
They said like everyone do it.
Yeah, everyone's doing it now.
100%.
Yeah, I didn't choose. This is a choice. Yeah, this is the new hairstyle. Everyone like it now.
Yeah, 100%. Otherwise, they'd be like sumo, right?
Yeah, and they would have a full. Yeah.
I always feel sorry for the sumo who are going really bald.
They can't do that.
Yeah, every now and again you'll get like a Romanian guy or a Hungarian guy, and they're just they're 34 or something, and they're just super bald, and they have a tiny little ponytail, and you can see the guys trying to grease it up and comb it back for them. You need if you're going to be Yokozuna, you need a good head of hair.
If you want to get the endorsements and all, for sure. I heard a scandalous thing saying that sumo comes from Mongolia.
Yeah, they're big into wrestling there.
Yeah. Huge. Yeah.
And the best wrestlers for the last two or three decades have been from Mongolia.
It's big up there for sure. Sumo.
Asashoyu, remember him?
Yep.
And who's the other guy, the last guy? Kotooshu, was it?
No, I can't remember. I mean, there's been a lot of foreigners that come in.
Oh, yeah.
Even from Hawaii.
Yep.
Yeah, Akebono.
Akebono.
He died recently.
He passed away recently, yeah.
Do you remember that was weird so he just retired and he was like the grand champion. Big, huge unit. God, he must have been 200 kilo if he was one. But he went into not MME, but what was the one that they had here?
Oh, K1.
K1. He went into K1 and it was just, couldn't throw a punch. Like he was just like,
it was just all the weight behind him.
He was just trying to get them in the corner.
He's got one chance. Yeah.
And they'd have
sit on him.
Yeah. And they'd have a judo guy or something fighting him. And it was,
but when he went down, it was just like a tower falling.
Yeah. You're not getting back up. Yeah.
I remember they'd have Bob Sapp against them. And Bob Sapp's a huge unit, but Bob Sapp would be just like dwarfed by this guy. But Bob Sapp would be just punching the face off him. And he didn't know how to like box or anything. He'd be just like dong, dong, dong.
Not that I'd ever get in the ring with Bob Sapp, but he wasn't a great fighter.
No, he was so...
He would get slapped across the face, he'd fall down.
Yeah, he always... But he was just so big, right? He was an American football player, wasn't he?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
But he has been in like Japanese TV and...
Oh, yeah.
He was quite like he used to have a lot... He must have made a lot of money in Japan. You don't see much of him now. I think someone told me that... I met someone who's in the business of... what do you call that? Oil?
The business of oil?
Oil that you makes you relaxed. It's not
CBD
oil, and he said like that the dodgy corner in Don Quixote that does the CBD oil. There's a picture of Bob Sapp, and he's got a vape in one hand and CBD oil in the other. So that's what he's doing now.
That's just his brand. Yeah.
So. Hey, I want to check something. So going back to sumo really quickly, I heard that to become like a proper top class sumo wrestler, they actually cut your hamstrings, so you can like do the splits and be more flexible. True?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
They don't cut it. They they overstretch them and they, like they basically kind of twang, they snap a little bit. So my son actually, random story, we were actually just having a coffee or a kind of a brunch one Saturday, kind of early afternoon. And there was a sumo tournament for all the kids in the local area. And my son entered, and because, he's half Irish or whatever, and he's a big unit, he won his thing. So then, because he became like the area, which is Minatoku, he became the Minatoku, whatever it was, under 10 champion. We ended up going to the All Tokyo one, where he could compete. Now, when I say compete, we went, and the kid he was fighting was about I'd say 130 kilo.
Oh gosh,
he was huge, and his dad like owned the stable, and this kid was straight, and the kids were all doing full splits, whatever, right? But you could see the kind of say teenagery kids. Like they can't quite do the splits, and they're like literally standing on them and pushing them down on the ground to do it. And you're just like,
really grueling. Yeah.
That's not good, But they do break them. But it's So I said to my son, "Do you want to continue doing it?" He's like, "Hell no." But it was to be honest with you, and this is there's a lot of purists out there. There was a lot of dodgy guys. So this was a kids sumo tournament. So everybody in Tokyo Sumi Nagawa, all these places where they're really serious. Like the kids are super serious. They're going to be professional sumo players. They're like 10 sumo players, sumo wrestlers. And it's super dodgy. Like there's loads of dodgy guys there. Like, the tats, not like foreigner tats, like the tats. And they've got half their shirt taken off. It's 10 o'clock in the morning in the gym, and you're like, oh.
I think was this when you told me that you were worried about your car? You park somewhere and you're like, I hope I don't come back and it's on cinema.
No, that was a different that was a different place. No, it's Japan is a very safe place, and Tokyo is a very safe place. But there are areas where you drive into that you've never been before, and where I'm from, you can like turn a corner and you're in a dodgy, you're in an area where there's flats everywhere, and you're like, okay, not a good place. I got that vibe for the first time in 20 years, just driving around. It was in Kotoku. Oh no, where was it? It wasn't Kotoku. I'll tell you a lie. It was near Asakusa. Yeah. And I went there for a judo training session. They move around on this club, and we went to this place, and it was dodgy. Like there was guys looking at windows that had no glass. They're just standing in this kind of weird living room looking at you. There's guys like beating pans with their hands outside, and you're like, this is what?
Tumbleweeds and
No, loads of people everywhere. Yeah, but it kind of a weird vibe. Yeah, so, but nothing happened to the car. Everything was good. It is Japan after all. But I did feel like everyone was looking at me like, oh, foreigner, which doesn't usually happen.
Especially in the middle of Tokyo.
It wasn't the middle of Tokyo.
Well, you know what I mean. Tokyo's a big place. That's still pretty central.
Yeah, and didn't see any foreigners in that area. Very, very super.
That's probably why.
Yeah, no, very local. But it was and the school was actually, the school where the judo was on was falling apart. Falling apart. Like the tatami, like there was a girl came up to me afterwards, and she was being really nice, and she said, when your son's finished, you need to take him home and make him get washed straight away, because these tatami are alive.
Oh, God.
And I was just like,
thanks.
Jesus. Yeah. So as soon as he got out, I was wiping him down with like alcohol wipes and stuff, and wash the gi,
shave his head,
the gear. He was fine. But there is a ghetto in Tokyo. You just have to look hard enough, and you can find it.
A lot of these sumo stables have been in the news a lot lately, though, especially the last like 12 months, 24 months for like power harassment and all of that.
Did you see the Netflix show called Sanctuary?
Yeah, I've seen some of
Have you not watched it? I mean, it's pretty interesting. My son watched that. Now, I didn't realize there was a lot of adult themes in it, but it's like they bully each other completely.
Yeah.
Like they just absolutely make.
It's not just bullying; it's like proper physical abuse.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, absolutely. It's like it's more than power harassment. It's like you're physically bashing them, you're degrading them,
you're toughening them up. Yeah, that's the rationale.
That's the rationale. Yeah, and but it's I mean, do you remember there was a Mongolian guy who had to leave in disgrace because he started beating. They were out having a drink, and he started beating up one of his.
No, that's right. Yeah.
He started beating up one of his like kohai, I suppose.
Everyone knew it goes on, but he did it in public.
He did it in public. Smashed the crap out of him. He might have even bottled him or something. I can't remember. He picked up a bottle, smashed it over his face. Like just crazy. And then it only takes one whistleblower to say like,
That's right.
this is what happened, and then all these stories come out. And so, yeah, the old sumo world, it's not an appealing world, really. You know, the pressure of their bodies and stuff. But you should watch that Sanctuary.
Yeah, how they force feed themselves and everything. And
Yeah, so they train really hard, and then they eat like absolute pigs, chanko, and you know, six or seven
Chanko
pounds of
nabe,
rice.
that's right,
Yeah.
yeah.
And then they go to sleep because that helps them put on weight. And then I suppose they
I
train.
mean, they do train a lot.
They do, yeah. They're strong.
They're strong as hell, man. These people, these guys, really, really strong. People just look at them and go, "Oh, if you're fat, you can be a sumo wrestler." But these guys are physically fit.
Yeah, absolutely. But everything's extreme. The way they train is extreme, like, you know, with the stretching of the legs and all that, and the way they keep training through injury, which is really damaging. And then the way they what they do to their bodies is just the pressure that they put their hearts and stuff under. They don't live long.
No,
you know, and when they get older, they look wrecked.
But I tell you what, they've all got really, really pretty wives.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
petite little wives.
Yeah.
Well, at least at the high end, right?
Well,
the champions.
I was going to say the guys who do well, they make a lot of money.
Yeah.
But even when they get the permission to have their own dojo or their own sumo bear, I believe is the proper sumo bear. When they get permission to do that, it's kind of like then you've got like 25 guys living in tatami in your house, and then you're and then the wife has to cook and clean for all of them, and she's like, I didn't sign up for this. I thought you were rich. You know. But it's a weird life, isn't it, in Japan? It's kind of stuck in the old days. I don't know how they're going to modernize that. They probably never will.
They're fun to see. Like, you know, sometimes you see them out on the streets or in the trains and stuff like that. It's kind of like when you spot a geisha somewhere, you know, it's like, oh, that's the real thing. You know, it's what's
the real thing, because they're just wearing these like wooden flip flops. They're just hard as nails. They just
like you get on, they get on the train and, you know, it tilts their way. So
yeah, we a couple of times at the golf course we've had sumo come, and it's pretty impressive thing. Like you see, like, you know, maybe 12 high aces pull up, and then all the sumo just come out, and they're all in golf gear, but they still have the top knot. But they're all like in, you know, and they love golf.
Like you hit a long way too, no doubt.
I'm sure they're really strong. Yeah, and then they drink 50 beers, and they have all these kind of like, are they called retainers, or people who look after them? So they just go and they just drink beers and just blah blah blah. And you give it to them for a cheaper price because, you know, whatever. But we've had Asashoryu at the.
Oh well.
He was a very keen golfer at our golf course.
How about the suspension on those golf carts? Like you have to
under extreme pressure. I mean, even with a couple of gaijin in it, it's a couple of foreigners in it. They struggle to get up hills and stuff.
Especially at Suzuki golf.
Yeah, one of our courses is really hilly, especially the intervals to get from the green to the next tee box. You're going up this thing, and there's a couple of times we've had to get out and push because the thing is just struggle. But we have travelators and lifts and stuff like that to take you up to the top. But you know, sometimes you don't bother and you stay in the golf cart.
Maybe
I think some of those sumo guys it's not the pressure of the suspension or anything like that. It's just actually getting into one of those golf carts would be a challenge.
Yeah, they're big units, aren't they?
Maybe if it's trying
especially
to go uphill.
If they're tall.
Yeah,
because they're big and tall. That's, you know, they must have to get 2 seats on the airplane, and well, they must do. It's that big. Anyway. Okay, I think we're going to keep it short and sweet this week. Did you guys have any golf planned this week? There was supposed to be play on Friday, but I'm just too busy. I can't do it. You going to get this weekend?
Yeah, I'm going out on Saturday to Golf 5 Oak Village.
Oh,
with the
I love
boys.
that golf course.
That's one of my favourites. Great course.
I seen there was in the group chat there was a spare spot.
There is. I played a bucket list course on Sunday, the Caledonian.
Oh yeah, I played. That's one of the best golf courses.
That
in
was
Japan.
so nice.
Yeah, close to the airport.
Yeah, shout out to Ted for taking me out there. That was really good. Mega course.
Yeah,
beautiful.
That's cool. No, I Saturday I have my son's American football game, so they have to win it to get into the playoffs. If they don't win it, they're done for their season. So high pressure game. So go Mustangs.
Good luck to him.
Yep, shout out to the Mustangs. And then but Sunday could be an option.
Yep.
What's the weather like? The weather's amazing now at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Weather looks pretty good. Next week it might come apart a wee bit, but up until then it looks all right.
Okay. Well, good time to get to Japan. I see that the tourist numbers are going up really high again because they all know now the summer's hot and now's the time to travel.
Well, the autumn color, the changing of the leaves, that's always a really popular season as well. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we've got so many tee times booked in for October.
Really?
Huge.
That's good. Where's the most popular course?
I would say around Fuji. I wouldn't say the most popular course, most popular area around Fuji for sure.
Yeah. I'd say Osaka Kansai always gets busy at this time. Yeah, around Kansai as well.
Because of
Good
temperature or what?
It's just so pleasant,
Mm.
and the golf courses are really nice down there. And
Okinawa's picking up again as well because it's come off the peak heat type thing. So
no, it's
also another good destination.
It's 23 degrees today. It's really nice.
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, lads. Without further ado, we'll bid you all sayonara.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Cheers.
Abayo.